Hello, everyone. How are you doing? And welcome to the Dr. Will Show. I'm your host, Dr. Will, and I am hanging out in the bedroom tonight. And I am here with Sheena Allen of Sheena Apps. How are you doing, Sheena?
Fine, how are you?
Quite well. Thanks for asking. Now, folks, I don't know if kismet is the word, but s- she showed up in my timeline via a retweet, right? She's from Mississippi. As you know, this is a tip. I'm from Mississippi as well. We ended up graduating from the same school, from the same program. And to read about her and how she got started in mobile app development is interesting as well, especially, coming back from a trip from Walmart and go, how do I make this happen? So that was really, really fun read for me. So where we were talking about mobile app development with Sheena, who started her own mobile app development company. So Sheena, for those who are watching the show and may not know who you are, will you please introduce yourself?
My name is Sheena. Sheena Allen. I'm from Terry, Mississippi, little small town outside of Jackson. Um, yeah, grew up in Terry, went to Terry High, left Terry High. I went to college at USM, Southern Miss. I double majored, film and psychology. I minored in marketing. I also did a little entrepreneurship there. Was going to be a either I was going to be an IELTS psychologist, and I was going to write movies on the side. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but it sounded fun. Yeah, it didn't happen. Senior year of college, had a random idea for an app. Um, Fell in love with the process of it. Definitely wasn't an overnight success story, but so now I own a mobile application company called Sheena Allen Applications. I also own a development company called Housebox, and I'm working on a new startup at the moment and doing a lot of traveling, a lot of speaking. A lot of people are happy to see someone younger or somebody more they can relate to. So I do travel and speak to a lot of middle school, high school, college age kids. Even though I'm on 26, but I guess I'm more relatable. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do in a nutshell.
Awesome. So there's been a lot of talk in the news and the blogosphere about the lack of diversity in Silicon Valley. So tell me about Sheena Allen apps and where do you see yourself fitting in this ed tech game?
Well, with Sheena Allen Applications, it's a company for me that eventually I will more than likely move back to Mississippi. Um, for that reason, when I started that company, for one, it was my baby. I mean, I started trial and error, and it got me to where I am now. But for the most part, the apps for that company, they're more simple, just like kind of like entertainment applications. Um, and I would love to bring it back to Mississippi simply for the reason that I want to allow other people in the Mississippi or southern area to be able to come stay in the South and work for a something that's been successful. I mean, the company has over 2 million, almost 3 million downloads. We still have lots of active, users, great impressions. Now with my new startup, it's on a completely different level than what Sheena Allen Apps is. So it's I learned a lot from Sheena Allen Apps, and I will continue to learn from it. I will continue to build it. But my new app is where I get to quote unquote play with the big guys. So I have to deal with the whole diversity issue, but I don't want to. I'm asked that question all the time, but I don't want to. I don't know. Put that in front of me. I don't want to introduce myself and saying that I'm a black woman who does tech. No, I do tech and I just happen to be black and I just happen to be a woman.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. So, in another interview, you mentioned how you had to leave Mississippi for Austin to pursue your passion. Uh, so, what is Austin like in terms of the field of technology?
Uh, First off, it is very, very startup friendly. Probably the best thing that I loved about Austin, outside of just the atmosphere of Austin, the tech world there is very startup friendly. it's one of those places where if I was to come to you and I needed something, you might not be able to help me out because that might not be your field or something that you're good at. But instead of you turning me away, you have said, look, listen, I can't help you, but John can help you, and you would, make an introduction between me and John. So it's the overall atmosphere, just being startup friendly. That was what I loved about it.
Hmm. So describe what you do as a mobile app developer, and what are some of the challenges you encounter?
I'm non-technical, so I don't code. Um, I do pretty much everything but code. I design my own apps. I do all my own spec sheet, my flow charts. I just pretty much pass that on to the developer. They do the coding, and I do my own testing. I do my own deploy. I mean, I do everything other pretty much in the coding. So I am non-technical, but my brain is my best friend. So I have developers now that I work with for years. I'm actually just got a partner that's a developer in Houston. Probably will continue to get more, some in Austin, looking for some, of course, in California, Bay Area, even if it's LA, New York. You always want to work with people like that. I love to put myself in a room with different people because, the ideas get to flowing. But for me, I pretty much do everything but the actual coding. So that's why I know even now I can consult with people, and now yeah, just do a little bit of it all other than the coding.
Okay. So how does a mobile app developer make money? Is it strictly about downloads, or does revenue come from other places?
It can come from multiple channels. Um, a lot of people feel like you're gonna put out an app and you're gonna be rich tomorrow, and that's how I thought when I put my first app out. I just swore like in 2 months I was gonna be like stupid rich. Way. But you have to make a decision first off. You make a decision on if you want to make money now or you want to make money later. And when I say that, I mean, if you're going to make money now, you're going to put out an app that you're trying to bring in revenue right now. That might be through ads. That might be through in-app purchases. It might be through a paid version to the free version. Or you can say, you know what, I want to focus on building a community first. I want to get my users up. I want to build an audience first. And then I'll try to go either, sell the company or let me do advertising later or, get investments. So you're really making a choice on if you want to make money now or you want to make money later. For example, Instagram, Snapchat, those are the examples of people, they decided that they weren't going to make money the first day. They weren't making any money. There was no advertising. The app was completely free. But they did work on building their audience. And then once they got to know the millions and millions of users, investors came in or, people want to acquire them. So it's a decision that you make. If you want to make money now, make money later.
So what has been your most successful app to date, and what makes your applications so appealing?
To date, my most successful will be Dublin, Dubblen. It that app, I'll never forget. I put that app out for Android after I had it out for iPhone for a few months, and people would email me nonstop. We want it for Android. I need it for Android, and it was actually my very first Android app. And I put it out for Android, and within like 2 or 3 months, I had 500,000 downloads, which was crazy. So it was to date, it is my most successful app. Right now, though, my most successful app is actually Pixlet. Um, it's growing daily. It's getting bigger and bigger. We have, I mean, so much in store for that. It's not where it is now. To everybody else, it might seem great, but to me, it seems old because I know what's to come down the road. But right now, Pixlet is doing the best.
Awesome, awesome. So you mentioned how you had these apps on iOS, and then and people were like, "Hey, give me on Android, give me on Android." Is there a platform that you prefer to work with, and What's the difference between developing for iOS than for Android or Windows?
I don't really. It's not one I prefer over the other. Um, for me, I like to follow my audience. So a lot of times I do look at numbers or I look at the trends. The biggest difference overall is, Windows is great, but most times people talk, it's either iPhone or Android. You don't really hear the Windows or the BlackBerry talk too often. And it's because, you look at numbers. No, numbers don't lie. Most people they have an iPhone or have an Android device. As far as popularity goes. So the biggest difference from my side is that um, iPhone is held to a different standard in the development world. And when I say that, it's kind of the New York thing. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. And it's almost what you get from iPhone. Because iPhone, when you put your app in the App Store for iPhone, you go through a review process. They're going to tell you if your app is good enough to be in the App Store. Apple just, you can't put anything in the App Store for Apple. With Androids, it's different. So, once I upload my APK to my developer console for Android, the world can download within 25 minutes. So it's there, we're ready to move. With Apple, it's different. You're going to go through the review process, and they're going to make sure you're worthy of being in their App Store.
Wow. Wow. Okay. I'm an Android dude. And I like the openness of it myself. So, um, in going there, what is your day to day like, and what are some of the misconceptions that people have about mobile app developers?
They were all men and we look nerdy. Probably the top misconception. Um, a day to day for me, for one, my sleep, I don't sleep. I take naps. And that's really the truth. Like I nap. I take, 2 hour nap here, 3 hour nap there. I might take a nap at 10. I'm up at 1 and I'll work to like 5 and I'll take a nap and I wake up at like 7. It depends. Um, Always checking numbers. How many downloads did this get? How many active users? What's the retention rate today? Working on new ideas all the time. Because I own a development company, a lot of times the customers are concerned about, well, how do I know you're not going to steal my idea? And I'm like, listen, I have a book about this wide of ideas and stuff I got to get out, in the next 10, 20 years. I don't even have time to even think about stealing your idea. So it's always come up with new ideas. It's always trying to um, be very strategic, following the trends, also making my own trends. I believe in sometimes, doing it your way. I believe a lot in doing it your way, actually. So that's for me. Taking a break every now and then. I like to eat food because sometimes I forget to eat. So when I do remember to eat, I eat. Um, yeah, just little things like that.
Okay, so I'm going to throw a question out there to you that I didn't give you beforehand, and this speaks to coming from Mississippi.
Okay.
In our state, as you know, the businesses or industries here that do most of the hiring, where people are able to have uh, fruitful financial lives, are traditional. I mean, you go, a lawyer, doctor, nurse, uh, college professor, etc. There's not, not that people here don't have dreams of being in tech and becoming the next Apple, but it's not something that's in the atmosphere. We don't have that, that sort of buzz going around here.
Right.
What, in thinking about that and knowing that you come from Mississippi, how do you think that that buzz, that Austin startup, that Silicon Valley, whatever you want to call it, how can that come to Mississippi? What is needed, whether in the school system or in some sort of incubator or in current businesses? What's needed to sort of bring that spirit here and begin the process of Mississippi starting to grow that sort of movement?
I think it starts. It's a pipeline, and it's a pipeline that needs to. It hasn't really been started. I mean, don't get me wrong. We have the C Spires and we have the bum guards, but we don't have a true startup community here for tech startups. We just don't. I think it starts even as low as the elementary, middle, high school. We don't even have STEM programs here, so it starts there. Jackson State is doing an amazing job. Dr. Robert Blaine over there is really trying to get stuff moving there as far as innovation. It starts there. It starts with taking those kids that are in college and stop giving them a textbook and telling them memorize what's in the textbook. That takes the creativity out of people. Allow people to be, allow them to think. You're not thinking when you're reading out of a textbook and you're memorizing what's in the textbook for a test. That's not thinking. That's memorization. From there, it's going to take, it's a lot of creative people in this city, in this state. It's going to take us being together as one. A lot of people in this area, they have the mentality of I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to be the one. And if we can understand that, if we can put all our minds together and all our resources together, we'll actually get much, much, much further, much quicker. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take somebody doing a co-working space, and then from there doing an incubator space, and from there doing an accelerator. It's going to take mentors to come in. It's going to take people to stop the eyes and be willing to work with other people with great ideas.
So I got news for you. I don't know if you know this or not. I normally don't put my work business out there because this is personal. But I am a district instructional technologist with Hattiesburg Public School System. We this year are launching a 6th grade STEAM school. One-to-one Chromebooks, 3D printers. Kids will be having a STEM curriculum where they will be taking robotics, etc. We played around in our office with a 3D printer today, and the boss found this tiger face and actually, made that happen. And I was looking at it like, that's awesome. So we have that. And then our middle school is one-to-one Chromebooks. And they already have ICT and other stuff there. And then the high school here is moving to one-to-one Chromebooks. We're starting with the 9th grade this year as well. And then, of course, they have STEAM over there in career academies. So some of what you mentioned, we're trying to bring that here with our school district. So if you ever want to come back home, Hattiesburg, I think would be the place.
Hey, that was home for 4 years.
Well, I made my home. I'm originally from Vicksburg.
Hey.
And went to Tougaloo for 2 years, and it was like, I have to go to USM because I want to make movies. And that's how that happened. So before we go, what is your advice for those who are considering getting into mobile app development as a career?
One, you really have to dive into it. I think the issue, not just with mobile applications, I think people have a thing of fear. That's the biggest thing to do away with. Research. I mean, Google is like your best friend. Don't be afraid to step out. If you have to go to Austin, or if you have to go, Atlanta is building, New Orleans is building, they have the Idea Village. Try to connect with people in the area. I mean, I love, but I would love to make more people can stay here. Overall, dream big. When you're an entrepreneur, you got to be a risk taker. You got to dream big. You got to be optimistic. And that's the best thing I can tell anybody. Be optimistic. Dream big. It's gonna pay off.
Awesome. Thank you, Sheena, for being a guest on the podcast. I definitely appreciate you coming. I know my wife would like for you to do a hangout with her class. She teaches gifted, and her kids, they do Scratch an hour of code.
See, I like to hear stuff like that.
Yeah, so she does stuff like that, and she's taught, did entrepreneurial units where kids had to create their own businesses and present that and stuff. So she said had a good time with things like that. So hopefully you and I can stay in touch uh,
Definitely.
and partner on some things. I've been doing some consulting, but I'm on the air, so I'm gonna get out of that. Uh, but yeah, I've been having a good time doing my thing. Again, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. And for those who are watching, again, as always, on my blog, you'll see this video and ways to get in contact with Sheena on Twitter, etc. So, people, as always, be you, edu, and I'll see you tomorrow on another episode of the Dr. Will Show.